Alright, what's up? We're going to look at more War of the Spark spoilers. I'm trying not to look because I want to look at them one at a time, but I already saw some stuff that looks crazy, and a friend of mine sent me a picture of a card today that looks crazy, but it was just like an actual photograph of a card, so I don't know if it's actually been officially spoiled or if it's been leaked. We're only looking at the cards that are officially spoiled. I think that's like a better way to do it. At any rate, okay. Price of Betrayal, remove up to 5 counters from target artifact, creature, planeswalker, or opponents. Now, what's key here is the absence of the type land. Not that I think this would actually break Dark Depths out of its tiering. I mean, it's already quite a good deck, given that you need to remove, what, 8? 10? You'd have to hit it with 2 of these. But still, I think they very deliberately avoided that. But this is actually pretty cool. So I expected there to be a lot more kind of planeswalker-focused cards, things that only really make sense in a limited environment with this many planeswalkers, and this is the sort of thing I was looking for. It's a little more generalized because, you know, there's quite a lot of times that you can hit a creature quite well with this, or an artifact to turn off like a lot of their kind of mana rock type things. This hoses. I was about to say this hoses Time Vault, but no, it doesn't. That's not how Time Vault works anymore. There was a brief period where this would hose Time Vault, but I'm sure it hoses all sorts of things. I kind of like these kind of bizarre hits like 5 corner cases at once type hate cards. The problem is they're not usually as good as the ones that just hit like 1 non-corner case, you know? So the story of this, I guess, is Liliana betraying Nicol Bolas, which we saw in the little trailer. Sure. Yeah, okay, I don't know. It's really hard to evaluate a card like this. It can take energy counters away too, can it? Because your opponent is the one that has the energy counters. So that would have been relevant like a while ago, but not really now. I also wish this was an instant. I feel like this would be a lot more interesting with as like anti-energy tech if it was an instant. Okay. Ooh, new Ugin. Okay. Color spells cost 2 less to cast. Okay. All right. Face down and look at it. Create a 2/2 spirit creature token. The token leaves the battlefield, but the extra card in your hand. Very cool. Very cool. Story target permanent is 1 or more colors. That's pretty sweet. This thing seems actually pretty decent. Like, this is a huge engine in all by itself. Of course, you're trying to ramp this thing out as early as possible and then use this to just start dumping your hand of everything else. The number of spells this makes just straight up free is pretty bonkers. I'm sure there's some sort of beyond Cheerios deck that will just like churn through itself using this as an engine. And then this is like such wide removal. Like this just hits so many things, and it creates like board presence. That's kind of card advantage later. Yeah, I don't know. I'm quite into this. It's like kind of hard to imagine exactly where it's gonna show up. First, let's say for this, let me say not even SB worthy even if super friends are here. I just don't see it. It's like too narrow. It's like a lot of cool little things, and I'm sure whenever it works, it's going to be exciting. But I think it's too narrow. This some deck wants this. I'm not sure what. Something like think about like playing like eggs and stuff. You're just popping them down for free, and then you're getting net mana from it and net cards. Maybe 6. How quickly can a deck like that get to 6? I don't know though. I don't know. I'm quite interested in this. This is a pretty interesting card. Ugin's Conjurant. The battlefield X +1/+1 counters on it. Oh, okay, cool. So this is strictly better than Endless One, is it not? Endless One, yeah, it's strictly better than Endless One. And Endless One is a rare, and this is just an uncommon. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Endless One does get played in some decks, doesn't it? But I think there it's key that it has the Eldrazi Tribal because of the nice interaction with Eldrazi Mimic and Eye of Ugin and Eldrazi Temple and all of those other pretty aggressive acceleration type cards. Whereas this has some okay creature types. I mean, Spirit Tribal is a thing, but it doesn't have any sort of bonus effect that's like relevant for that. This is a kind of a cool ability. This is the Phantom ability. Like this guy. There's I guess a couple different Phantom abilities because this is like also a Phantom ability. This is the big boy that I really liked as a kid. Yeah, whenever it would be dealt. Oh, but there you're only removing 1/1/1 counter no matter how much damage it's dealt. Whereas here, you're removing that much. Okay. Still, it's pretty cool. It's like exciting to me that they're pushing past a card like Endless One, which is already a card that I considered pushed, because when you compare it to something like Ivy Elemental, it's just an extra mana for no benefit. Was it a common and Iconic Masters? That's hilarious. From rare down to common. Anyhow, yeah, this is a cool card. So that's number 3, and this is number 2. Oh, because it's S. I was like a little confused at first, like why this was before, but it's because there's S before T. Sure. Okay. Command the Dead Horde. Did we not? Oh, no. She just has like another, there's like another card that has a similar name or something, right? Hold on. Oh wait, no. We almost like spoiled ourselves there a little more. We just go here. And then it loads, presumably. I just want to do this because this will search cards that are already spoiled. And it's something else, like, oh, maybe I wrote about it in my notes. Wouldn't that be nice? Dreadhorde Invasion, that's what I'm thinking of. Choose any number of target creature and or planeswalker cards in graveyards, deals damage to you equal to the total converted mana cost of those cards, put them on the battlefield in your control. So this is like Reanimator style Reanimator, like the literal card named Reanimator, where you're taking damage equal to CMC to get the guy back. Here you get to get as many guys back as you can afford. I don't really see the point of that. Reanimator decks typically don't need to bring back anything more than just one. You just bring back a 1-card combo like Griselbrand, and there's your win. 6 mana is a lot. This is definitely like kitchen table core, EDH core, which is fine. It's exciting, don't get me wrong. I think this is actually a pretty cool idea. EDH. It's exciting. It's a nice homage to Reanimator. The art is cool, but it's nowhere near the power level it needs to be. Finale of Devastation. Put your library and graveyard for a creature cost with converted mana X or less and put it on the battlefield. Search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X/+less and gain haste until end of turn. Ooh. So, you know, up until this line, it's just worse Green Sun Zenith. Oh, except that it's not restricted to green cards. But Green Sun Zenith is instant, is it not? No, it's a sorcery. Okay. So this is already like pretty interesting. That it's they're willing to go just 1 mana more than Green Sun Zenith for the fairly significant upgrade of searching your graveyard and not being restricted to green. So that's quite interesting. Now, if I recall, the reason that GSZ was banned was more about it making just kind of like toolbox type zoo decks too consistent. It didn't really seem like they cared too much about like the turn 1 GSZ for Dryad Arbor acceleration or anything like that. So what I'm wondering is like, does the extra mana make this like that much worse in a meaningful way if you're playing like big green toolbox type deck where you're just trying to search for your silver bullet creatures with this thing? And the fact that you can get any sort of creature makes that like way more viable because a lot of like hate creatures are in white and stuff. This line I don't think matters too much. Actually, I don't know. In a certain deck, that just reads like win the game, right? You go get Emrakul, and Emrakul gets, you're paying 17 by the way. So you pay 17, Emrakul gets +17/+17 in haste. And then there's like basically no way you lose. Man, yeah, I don't know. I think this could do it. Like, it could be there. Decks missing GSZ. 1 mana more. The difference between 1 and 2 extra mana is pretty huge. The fact that you can't turn 1 Dryad Arbor with this is a little lame. But you can consistently like turn 2 Dryad Arbor, which like isn't really, I don't know. If I don't know. I want to believe in this one. I think this card's pretty crazy. And it's like interesting to me that this cycle, we've seen this and this, and both of them are like, oh, I thought that would, oh, whatever. Both of them are taking a card that's already pretty pushed, like a card that was already pushed to the point of being a centerpiece of like a deck, that being Green Sun Zenith and Electro Dominance. Electro Dominance, you know, it hasn't really had the opportunity yet to show how much staying power that deck has, but in my mind, that deck is pretty scary. The Electro Dominance Living End type deck, and now they're seemingly like deliberately very much pushing as close as possible to those cards without going all the way. It's exciting stuff. It really is exciting stuff, and I kind of want to believe. Oh, new Gideon with his big sword. As long as it's your turn, 4/4 soldier creature with indestructible soul planeswalker. Prevent all damage to be dealt to him during your turn. That's pretty nice. He just auto creatures. He's not needing that to be his activation anymore. To 1 other target creature you control gains your choice of Vigilance, Lifelink, or Indestructible until end of turn. That's pretty sweet. Especially Vigilance. It really helps you kind of stabilize your board state. And Lifelink 2 can just save your butt. Indestructible. Oh, yeah. No, that's pretty sweet. And then exile target non-land permanent. This is like really relevant because often decks are just going to try to like burn out planeswalkers at the end of your turn, or in response, like trying to burn them out before you use them or things like that. But basically trying to leverage, you know, doing things on your turn with instant speed burner, instant speed, other damage removal. But no, he's just a 4/4 invincible dude for 3 mana, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling this. This is like so crazy pushed. So pushed. And it seems like it slots in quite nicely on curve to like the White Weenies deck. Like, who is it competing with in White Weenies right now? There's like Catman, probably some other Gideons or something. But I feel like most Gideons start at 4 or above. So a 3-drop Gideon, that's basically like at worst just going to be this 4/4 dude. And yeah, and then like this, that's sweet. You just tick them up a few times and exile their biggest threat. Like, oh my lordy lordy. So pushed. I could see it in modern White Weenies. I can't believe how pushed this card is. I mean, I guess, you know, this is a pretty pivotal character in this arc. He's just hopping up right on Dragon Boy and trying to stab him with the sword. So, you know, we're at least supposed to believe that that could be significant. I feel like that can't possibly be the way that Nicol Bolas loses, is Gideon with a sword. But who knows? At the very least, they want to kind of give it some significance. Finale of Glory. See, again, this to me recalls... Oh, I think it's from... It's the one that you can cycle it to make soldiers, or you can cast it to make angels. Decree of Justice. Oh man, sometimes it's like the feeling I get when I like pull something deep out of my mind. It's just beautiful. It just feels so great. I knew it would come to me if I just reached inside my brain and pull it out. This card was like super hyped to me as a kid. I thought this card was super cool. I still think it's super cool. It's just not really that strong. But this, to me, is much stronger. This, I guess, is not that different. Or I guess it's not that similar. But to be able to get, like, for 4 mana, you get 2/2/2 Vigilant Soldier Creature tokens. That's not bad. For 5 mana, you get 3, so now you're getting 6 Vigilant power for 5 mana. For 6, you get 8. Holy cow. Remember I was just talking about how beautiful the feeling is when you pull out the name of something you probably haven't thought about in like over 5 years at least. And then you turn around and fail to remember what 4 times 2 is. So again, I kind of have a hard time believing that this line is too relevant, but this is one of the more pushed token generators I can think of in recent memory. Vigilance is like extremely important for this sort of thing. It just really makes a huge difference in how you can swing in. Like if you kind of picture the situation where you're just chumping repeatedly, now you can just like swing in with everybody. Your DPS doesn't go down as significantly. Sky brought the Iron Dark. Then the Angels brought the Dawn. Cool. I like it. I like everything about this card. I think there's going to be like a mid-range white deck in modern, or in standard. Sorry, in standard that has these 2 guys as their. Oh, I just realized this is mythic. I guess because this is kind of like 2 different static abilities, so it's up to the 4 that most mythics have again. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I think this thing is nuts. Also pushed. Modern white we need again. Maybe no. And also probably some standard deck. I said standard white weenie deck. Just realized I wasn't entirely on the recorded part of the screen. Shark Hands, Catharsis. Deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Look at that. His hands turn into dragons. Like, oh, that Pokemon. Oh, also that Digimon. Oh, also probably a lot of other things. Yeah, that's fine. Here's the man himself. Whenever a creature attacks you or planeswalker you control, each dragon you control deals 1 damage to that creature. Alright. Till end of turn, each planeswalker you control becomes a 4/4 dragon creature token that gains flying. What if they don't want to turn into dragons? Wait, you're just turning all your friends into dragons? They don't have any say in this? Alright, so this is kind of cool. This feels like a really weird nombo, like a non-combo, because it's until end of turn, so it's not like your planeswalkers become dragons during their turns. So whenever the creature attacks you, whenever it's your opponent's combat phase, you're not going to be able to turn your buds into dragons, right? So that to me is like, I would have expected this would have been like until the end of until the start of your next turn or something like that. I guess this is where the synergy really more comes in, but you're probably not going to get that many dragons out of this, since you can only uptick with one. And he doesn't really have a good way to defend himself. This is just like a purely offensive thing. But this is quite the offensive thing. Like, I keep kind of vaguely picturing, you know, now that we have all these sort of cheaper planeswalkers, now that we have like more kind of utility, like patch-filling planeswalkers, like maybe the Super Friends deck is realer and realer, you know? And maybe we can actually get some sort of critical mass. And then this is like the finisher. This is like how you actually just turn this like dominating board presence of having a bunch of guys that are constantly getting you incremental advantage to like, whoop, now I'm swinging for 30 flying, right? So I don't know. And then there's also the idea of making this just like a dragon synergy deck, which to me is like, then it's a little unfortunate because, well, then he's like just probably turning himself into a dragon, which I guess is a bit of a flavor win because that's really all he wants to do anyways. One pawn for Super Friends? Probably not, though. Because I think it's like those decks, instead of actually trying to have something like this, which is just a win con all of itself, they'd rather just grind you out, you know? Like, why bother having parts of the deck that like straight up win you the game when you're ahead, when every single part of the deck can just push you ahead, and then eventually you win. This is the card my friend showed me. It seems absolutely bananas. I feel like I must be overestimating it or something, because to me it just seems like ludicrous. All right, so check this out. Copy target or instant or sorcery spell, then return it to its owner's hands. You may choose new targets for that copy. Now, when I first read this, I thought it was just kind of like a neat kind of bonus like fork type spell. You know, you cast something with good value. You target it with this. Hooray! I get it back. It's like buyback. I get to do it again next turn. But no, unlike most things that copy sorceries or instants or whatever, which really clearly mean like the one that you cast, this one can target anything. This one can target stuff your opponent is casting, and then it gets remanded. So it's like remand instant or sorcery spell, but then you get it too. So you don't get to draw a card, which is bad. That's definitely something much worse than a remand. It doesn't cantrip, but it you get to play the card that they were trying to play, right? Like what? This is crazy. So we were talking about this being like in the storm mirror. How hilarious this is, especially if like both people are running it. Situations where you're reversaling the reversal, I think is hilarious. I don't know, man. I think it's like a perfect card in that it creates really kind of funny, memorable moments, and yet it's like pushed to this like very specific like tempo edge, where like Remand, it can often just be time walk, but it has this kind of crazy splashy side to it too. Sheesh. So yeah, I feel like this thing is going to show up in a lot of places, but I'm not really entirely sure where. I have a lot of confidence in its power level right now, just because Remand is such a solid card, and just because just the ability to end up a turn ahead of them is so key. Maybe just more like a sideboard card against decks that are trying to just resolve. Like Storm is a good example. You reversal their Past in Flames, you reversal their Gifts Ungiven, you reversal whatever you want, and just snatch it up. It's very interesting to me. It's a very, very interesting card. I can't wait to see how this gets played. It's like not too many decks in Modern are just trying to land like the one big instant or sorcery though. Like Scape Shift. You gotta steal Scape Shift and then like ramp super hard basically. You know, you float a bunch of mana, you Scape Shift into like, oops, I'm a blue tempo deck. It turns out I don't have anything to do with this mana. What else? What else could this possibly I don't know. Maybe it's not so good. Oh, stuff like the Electro Dominance decks and the Living End decks that are just trying to push something through. Living End is a little awkward because it's symmetrical, so it doesn't really matter who casts it. But if you copy the Electro Dominance and then you Electro Dominance of something your own out, yeah, that's kind of fun. It actually seems like most of these situations I can think of, it's best in the mirror. Like you'd sideboard it in for the mirror match, and then you're just like trying to steal their combo. You're trying to like combo with their combo materials, but of course they could be trying to do the same thing to you. Whoa, this is a mind-boggling card. This is like one of my favorite cards in the set so far, I think. And that's saying a lot, because this set has been pretty crazy. I don't know. I don't know. The other thing that I can maybe see is that it's like yet another tool in more like legacy type formats, where you get the big counter wars, where it's like, they force something, you daze in response, blah 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 blah. This is like, in essence, a little better, because then you're like up an entire counter spell. It's not just like continually 1-for-1, where as long as they have a counter for your counter, it's good. But you copy their latest counter spell, have it target. You know what I'm saying, right? Like you end up 2 ahead. They need to have another 2 counter spells. I'm sure you just gave them 1 back, but like, they might not be able to play it again or whatever. And even if they did, there's still 1 behind. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. How do you evaluate a card like this? And here is the girl herself. Even though her reversal is a rare, she herself just coming in at a common. Sure. Your opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. Holy, okay. That's okay. Okay. Leave the top 4 cards of your library, reveal a non-creature non-land card from. So this is like the search for Esconta ability, right? So that's pretty good. That's like really nice filtering. But it's almost like more you just don't want to even do that and just put this down and laugh at them. So there's Notion Thief, right? How does this stack up compared to Notion Thief? Because Notion Thief has Flash, which is the real beautiful thing about it. Like this thing is crazy. IMO. It doesn't really see that much play, but it's definitely a very exciting card to steal their brainstorm and stuff. But no, it still doesn't really see that much play. So this probably just isn't as good as it seems. It's a very exciting effect, and it's the cheapest I believe that effect has been. Are there other cards that do this? Probably not quite there. Because it never gives you card advantage. Okay, so I'm going to search for... Can't draw more than 1 card. But the way it's worded in Notion Thief is different, because it's a replacement effect. It's not just a no effect. Ah, yes. I thought there was another card. Yeah, Leovold. Oh, and Spirit of the Labyrinth, too. Right, okay. So it has been done cheaper, and it has been done as cheap. Yeah, I don't think it's quite there, then. It's exciting, though, that they're playing more around with this. They're going to hit a card... Because, like, this sees some play, but I think it's largely because of this ability, which is pretty sweet. You basically just make yourself 2-for-1 every removal that your opponent tries. And this thing is like hella cheap, but I don't think it really sees play. Right? Yeah, it's very cheap, and yeah. So I don't think it's quite there. But it's exciting. It's exciting. Finale of Eternity. Ooh, another finale card. Strike to target 3 target creatures toughness X or less. Turn all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's like, okay. Who do I feel the greatest weakness is one who's no longer afraid. Now that is actually pretty cool. Like, think about it. The fact that Liliana knows that by rebelling she is dead, period, right? Because that's just how her demonic contract works. So that as soon as she decides to rebel and has just made her life forfeit, she just doesn't care anymore, right? Like, she can't get any more afraid than that. That's cool. That's cool. I actually super like that as a plot point, that it came back to bite him, you know? Anyways, this doesn't seem anywhere near as pushed as the other. Sure, toughness X or less. Oh, you know, actually, play this for 3 and kill like 3 mana dorks. That's pretty sweet. Maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. What kind of decks are you really hosing when you play this? Because the decks that are trying to play 3 mana dorks, usually by the time that they have 3 mana dorks down. Well, no, I don't know. I don't know. It's this one is like harder to imagine because this one is more about board state recovery than just like making a gigantic play, like the other ones are. So it's like hard to judge. This line I really doubt is relevant. Pay 12, mass res your entire graveyard to the battlefield. I just don't see it. So it's like all about this. How often are there 3 cheap creatures? Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking this is board for something. For against the little rampy guide decks. So I have the 3 turn creatures. This would like hose the pants off Boggles as like an early play against Boggles, except for the fact that it's target. Oh, it's interesting. Ooh, Kaya gets an oath. She's joining up with the Gatewatch. She's taking opportunity to show that she's a ghost. To me, that seems like, imagine that. They're like reaffirming the oath or whatever, and everyone is doing the thing. And Kaya's like, ooh. They're like, okay, yeah, we get it. We knew that you could do that. Like, that's part of the reason we're inviting you into this thing. You don't have to show it off every single time. Ooh, cool. Could see right through it. Anyways, whenever it has a battlefield, 3 damage to any target, you gain 3 life. Planeswalker control with one of my creatures deals 2 damage to that player, and you gain 2 life. Okay. Everyone gets what they truly deserve. I will keep watch. This is a nice little kind of flavorification, what am I trying to say here? Character development. That this is kind of her driving force more than anything is just justice. That she ripped up and exorcised she exorcised the Ghost Council because she thought it was unjust. Yeah, that's cool. Anyways, this seems all right. It's a 6 life swing when it comes down, and then they basically have to make big attacks, or they have to make a swing of at least 4 to overcome this effect. I don't know. I think this is like, So you want to play this in like a really grindy type of deck. Maybe some green control deck. Kind of. Yeah, I don't know. It's not really the colors that have been doing well for control lately. But it's cool. I just love this art. She's doing her ghost arm. Ooh, new Hydra. This is a Hydra mutant. Okay, so it's like a big Simic guy. Enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each loyalty counter on planeswalkers you control. Ever one or more loyalty counters upon a planeswalker you control, put that many +1/+1 counters on Biohazard's Hydra. Wow! Whoa! Okay, I love it. I love it. It's already a 4/4 trampler. So that's pretty pushed. At first I thought this would be like a 0-0, and then I was like, this is terrible. But that's actually quite fun. So this is another potential finisher for your hypothetical Super Friends deck. And this one is like a little more feasible because it is like I was saying, you know, with Sarkhan, you didn't really want to waste a card on your win con when everything else is just also your win con. You know what I'm saying? And this is more of an example of that. That in a situation where it's like, oh geez, I can't stabilize, like all of my friends are dead and help isn't coming soon, who can we turn to? Oh, it's like just a 4/4. And that'll like do a little beating, it'll apply a little pressure, it'll be something out there for me. And then this, so my understanding is that when you just play a Planeswalker, the loyalty that it comes into play with will actually trigger this as well. So that's like, it gets pretty big pretty fast. Yeah, I don't know. I think the real WinCon card for Super Friends. Like, yeah, it just seems like more relevant on its own. It's sort of like Sarkhan in that it's if you have no board presence at all, it's just a 4/4. Here it's a trampling 4/4 instead of a flying 4/4. But it kind of just scales up on its own. It doesn't really need you to put anything else at risk. You just kind of have your normal game plan going on, and this thing is getting huge. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling it. Like, I don't think this Super Friends deck is really going to be real, though. I kind of want it to be. I think that would be kind of cool. Modern Super Friends being like a tier deck. It's just like so different to play with and against than anything else, but I don't know if I actually believe it. I'm like a little skeptical, I guess. Start on the Citadel. It's on a turn. Creature control get +2/+2. This creature. Ooh. All right, this is a pretty exciting line of text. If we die, we die, but we cannot let him win. So this is the big boy's house, and here's everybody. There's even Jace. Jace has been relegated to like just some dude with glowy hands in this art. It's pretty amazing. He's on a green card. This is all you get when you're on a green card, buddy. Yeah, this is neat. This is certainly an exciting line of text. I don't think it's that great, but sure. Casualties of war. Destroy one or choose one or more. Will really destroy one or more. Okay, that's pretty sweet. That's like really sweet. They've made a couple cards sort of like this before. Like Cataclysm is kind of like this. Well, not really. So like Sundering Titan vaguely is along these lines. But the problem with most of these are like Hex. Hex is another example I can think of. Like big targeted removal type spells is that they make you do all of them. And then you're sometimes in an unfortunate situation where you end up having to target one of your own guys because there's just nobody else to target. Whereas this, you get to choose one or more for the fairly reasonable cost of 6 mana. You would pretty significantly disrupt any plan that they might have against you. Like, what deck isn't relying on at least one of these types to get them there? It doesn't do much against like the go wide creature decks, of course. Actually, it does like pathetically little against them. I think this is like reasonable sideboard tech. Reasonable sideboard tech in the big Golgari deck, which we've like talked about before. I was like, so this is kind of like their top end removal spell if it exists. I'm thinking in standard, but I don't know what the hell standard is going to look like after this set. It's going to be bonkers. Ooh, all right. I think this is the finale card. Draw X cards. All right, good start. X is 10 or more. Instead, shuffle your graveyard into library. Draw X cards on top of the 5 lands, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. and then they exile it, which is a little bit of like annoying asymmetry, I guess, between the finales. Ugin saw the gem that connected Brother Bolus to his meditation realm as the key to his brother's downfall. Interesting. So is this the meditation realm? I think. And I thought that gem was like something that he stole from the whatever of Knight's Reach from Kamigawa. Okay, enough about flavor. Draw X cards is never going to be bad to see. This is like hard to imagine happening, but it's pretty crazy. Let's tap up to 5 lands. You've just tapped 12. So I don't know. Maybe in some sort of crazy High Tide deck. Like, what is High Tide doing with all that mana? Are they hard casting Omniscience? Is that what they do? Do they hard cast like Emrakul? Would they want something like this? I'm just gonna search for High Tide because I don't really know how this works. Okay. There we go. So they're churning through their deck, They've got stuff like this, churn through their deck real fast. Got 4 High Tides. And then to win the game, they Cunning Wish for Brain Freeze, I guess? They Cunning Wish for Blue Sun Zenith? And then just like mill them out, maybe? They Cunning Wish for... That must be it, right? There's nothing else here that kills them. And I don't think it's the plan of like just grinding them out. So I don't know. Like there's no... Like the draw spells are all just low mana cantrips, which makes sense. But I feel like this is better than Blue Sun Zenith. No, not really. Because it's a sorcery and Blue Sun Zenith is an instant. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. High maybe? Like what else though? I don't see what else is going to play this. But sure. Blast Zone. The battlefield with a charge counter on it. Add that. Put X charge counters on it for XX. Ooh, and then it turns into engineered explosives. What? All right, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Engineered explosives, the land. Now, just like EE, the trick is like proliferate, right? Like you're not going to be playing 2 mana like some sort of chump. You're going to be using your guys, your Flux Channeler and your Evolution Sage. And then this turns into pretty quickly some very potent removal. In fact, you have to pay 3. You don't have to do that for Engineered Explosives. You just sack it, right? Oh no, you pay 2. Yeah, I don't know. I think this, like, anytime you're playing Engineered Explosives, this is maybe worth considering. In a lot of situations, it's going to be more expensive, but it has less restrictions too, because you don't have to sunburst it out. And it's a land. It like ramps you, well, it doesn't ramp you into itself because you have to tap that, but Actually, I really shouldn't say it ramps you at all because it's your land drop. You don't call it ramping to play a land that later you do something with. I think it's worth a try though. Both in the proliferate. How did I not say the word proliferate before? Oh, there it is. I just was surprised it didn't suggest it. Deck and wherever E is found. Maybe? I think it's worth a try. The art is a little unfortunate in light of Notre Dame Cathedral catching fire a few days ago. This definitely has a real kind of old stone Gothic architecture itself. Soul Diviner. Remove. Whoa. Okay, that's exciting. That's exciting. It's not. There must. Okay, instantly I'm like, ooh, Dark Depths, Dark Depths. But no, like Dark Depths doesn't give a shit about this. But there must be other cards. There must be other cards. Oh, like this has really beautiful synergy with La La La. Oh, you know, Devoted Druid. There she is. There's my girl. So you just take the counter off. You draw a card. You get another mana. It's beautiful. Or Wall of Roots. Look at that. Just get more mana. So that's fun in your bizarre black, green, blue deck that's like ramping or something. There must be other ones though. There must be other ones. I don't know. But whatever. This thing has a lot of synergies all across the board. The stats are pretty pushed. This is pretty unfortunate flavor-wise. Our poor kid is getting choked out by a zombie robot thing. Like, I really want to believe that there's some crazy synergy with this. I want to believe. How does that card work? Paradise Mantle? No, that's not what I'm thinking of. What's the... How do I search for the untap symbol? There's a specific card I'm thinking of. That's, no! Oh wait, no, that's mana cost. There we go. How many cards have the untap symbol? Can I just find it like this? It's like a aura, I thought. Oh. Hey, there we go. Oh, no. That's not good. No. Oh, what was I thinking of? For a second, I thought I could put together a little combo in my head. What? I've never seen this card before. This card is sweet. Look at that. Wow. Okay. Well, I want to believe. I think there's probably some crazy combo out there, but I don't have the ability to think of it right now. Jay's projection. Oh, maybe this is. That's not Jay's. That's just his projection. You think he's not going to be the star of the show? Maybe you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Put a loyalty counter on target Jace Planeswalker, and it's a Planeswalker deck card, as I predicted. All right, sure. Jace's ruse. You thought he was a Minotaur, but instead it is Jace. It looks like a blue Minotaur. 2 target creatures from their owner's hand. Search your library for a card called Jace Arcane Sphere. So this is the other Planeswalker card thing, sure. Guild Pack Informant. Oh, that's quite fun. I think this is a little too slow for my hypothetical proliferate deck that runs like Flux Channeler and stuff. Because you can have Flux Channeler down by now, and then you're just like comboing off. This is the Planeswalker deck, Jace. You draw your second card each turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. All right, that's all right. It's a little. This is like weird that Jace is doing this. This does not. Like I guess this is okay. This already feels a little weird to me in blue. This is like a little further. I wonder if Morrow like doesn't get into big shouting matches about color pie stuff if it's on a Planeswalker card or a Planeswalker deck card. Because I feel like he would not be cool with so much +1/+1 counters in blue. Like this sort of synergy, I mean, specifically. Yeah, this is alright. And by that I mean it is what it is. It's actually not good. Here's Huatli, the Ixalan person. 10 damage. Ooh, okay. So we get the big butt thing. Big butt Planeswalker. More and more, it kind of feels like they're trying to push this through. You know, Doran, Arcades, Salt Formation. It's like, are those decks dampered by the fact that these effects are rare? This is nothing to sneeze at either. You know, that's probably going to gain you quite a bit of life, and you're okay with this thing dying because you probably have some redundant effects by the time it does. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really like the big butt wall deck, largely because I really like Arcades Sabbath as like a character, and I just like that card and stuff. So I want to see big butt walls. Show me big butt walls. I don't think this really helps that much though, but because all the other big butt swing with your big butt twerking type effects, as you'd call it, give you something else nice too, or stuff like Doran because it's symmetrical, can sometimes really hose your opponent's deck. So I don't know if this one's there. It's pretty cheap, I guess, but it's no cheaper than Doran. Spark Reaper, saga creature, Planeswalker, gain 1 life and draw a card. Sure. She's so rude about it. Oh yeah, because I guess she does stuff like that. The Elder Spell. Oh snap! This is like a big story thing, isn't it? This is like what he's been doing this whole time. This is like what the point of this all was, I think. Destroy any number of target Planeswalkers. Choose a Planeswalker you control. Put 2 loyalty counters on it for each Planeswalker destroyed this way. Whoa. Whoa, wait, what? Whoa. So this is like Plague Wind for Planeswalkers, right? And it doesn't fizzle if you don't have a Planeswalker yourself, right? Like this part happens, and then they're dead. Because it's referring to destroyed this way in like the past tense. So it's not like you need a Planeswalker to play this. Whew, okay, so it's pretty narrow compared to something like Hero's Downfall, of course, which is always going to be somewhat relevant. Like, what deck doesn't play creatures? That's a rhetorical question. I know there's decks that don't play creatures. But man, oops, sorry, Super Friends deck. Too good for the world, died before you lived. Like, what can be more hosing to a deck like that than this? This is just like Plague Wind. Like, it's just, you kill all of them. And then if you have a Planeswalker yourself, all the better, but like, holy cannoli. Yeah, how sad. I have a hard time imagining that deck, because like sure, I mean it's double black. It's not like every deck is going to be splashing this in the sideboard to deal with that deck should it arrive, but enough of them are going to be able to be that deck is going to have a really rough time in the meta. For 2 mana. I am so shocked that this is 2 mana. Like, it's exciting. It can potentially lead to like a huge play where you bump your guy up to alting level and then you've destroyed all of their guys and it's like a big story moment, and Like I could see this costing like 5 or something, and I would be like, all right, whatever. But they're like 2. It costs 2. That's crazy. Deliver unto evil. Wow, this is some neat art. This is some very cool art. Choose up to 4 target cards in your graveyard. If you control a Bolas Planeswalker, returns those cards to your hand. Otherwise, the opponent turns 2 of them. Leave the chosen cards in your graveyard and put the rest in your hand. All right. So, I like this. I think, like, if this was just the card itself and it cost, I don't know, like a little cheaper, that would already be very, very interesting. Like a little gifts ungiven fact or fiction type action, but coming out of your graveyard. It's very cool. It's I was gonna say you can use the gift ungiven trick and choose up to like 2 cards just to get them in your graveyard. But it doesn't actually make any sense because they're already in your graveyard. Control Bolas Planeswalker, returns those cards to your hand. I don't know if I really like this sort of line because it's such an interesting card on its own. And then it's like I appreciate it when a card is really interesting on its own, and then it has an extra synergy with a particular type of deck that makes it a little stronger or even more interesting or whatever. But when it's like this explicit and like this defined of an archetype that can take better advantage of it, it's a little doesn't feel as interesting to me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is actually that good though. The more I think about it, it's like best case scenario, you're getting 4 cards from your graveyard for 3 mana. It's actually not that thrilling, right? Like it's yeah. I love everything about this card besides its power level. Narrow bonus. Yeah. Art, sweet. Name, sweet. This concept, sweet. But it just doesn't quite add up to a card that I'm actually excited to play. All right, we saw a leak of this before accidentally. We can take a look at it again, but I think I already talked about it. Somewhere around here. This was not a great format to do things. Oh, there we go. Okay, I said standard likely. Saying that a lot. Like, this is such a cool line. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it going past standard. I can't imagine this being like what modern deck cares to just be doing this sort of stuff for 5 mana, for 5 like really color intensive mana. I'm surprised that it's so much money, but I think it's more just because it's like a hype card and they know people want to play it casually and stuff like that, and it looks super cool and blah blah blah. Excuse me, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. Commence the end game. Spell can't be countered. Draw 2 cards, then amass X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. All right, neat. This is one of the more big swingy type amass type cards. I don't think it's very good because the situation where you're at 6 mana and you draw 2 cards, and then you have presumably a big mitt full of cards, and then you get a big zombie thing. That's a game that you're like losing probably if your hand isn't mostly empty. I suppose this is like in a control shell. You play this at the end of their turn, you know, and you've just held up a bunch of mana and a bunch of counter spells on your hand, and they're like, haha, guess what? Now I've got big zombies. Maybe, but like more than that, you would just rather be like, all right, well, I'll just fire off this cantrip and make sure that next turn I can do the same thing. Like that sort of grindy type victory. You don't really need to do this, you know, like you're either winning or losing, and either way, this card isn't really gonna help you, I think. Nah. A Skulker. It doesn't have Skulk? What happened to Skulk? I think they depreciated Skulk. And I think they're just going to go with Menace instead. Can't block this turn. This is spooky flavor text. I'm into it. This is pretty expensive, but whatever. It's just a common for limited. Here is Ashok themselves. I think this is a super cool character. The design is like really neat. I'm excited to see what more they do with them in the story. Can't cause their control to search. Wow. Okay. All right. That's pretty sweet. Now this is a little disappointing. You'll notice that this is worded differently than like Leonin Arbiter or Aven Mindcensor or something like that. And the key difference between them is that if I Ghost Quarter you, you can still get your basic land with Ashok. So that sucks. And if I puts the top 4 cards of the library in the graveyard, then exile each opponent's graveyard. That's kind of fun. I don't think I've ever seen mill into immediately exile before, which is quite funny. So, of course, mill has not been in the best of shape. For a while, there was that kind of crazy mono blue mill deck that uses like the not Snapcaster Mage, Snapcaster Enchantment thing, and then the mill card that cares about the number of like blue devotion you have. And for a bit, it was like, oh, like this is like the fastest mill has ever been. Let's see. And then now Modern is a format of like, great, you milled me, hooray, thank you. I was just gonna do that. Thank you. Great, yes, please. Oh, thought scour me. I was just about to thought scour myself, etc. So yeah, it's like not the best time for mill. This is like the first time I've seen a mill card that like fights against that with itself, you know? That you mill, and then you exile the graveyard immediately. You can even mill yourself. So in graveyard-based mirror matches, this is kind of hilarious. But no. Like, this is the powerful effect, but you just... Well, I don't know. Because both Mindcensor and Arbiter are in white. So maybe, maybe some hateful feedback, maybe. No, is never gonna get there, though, even with new exile tech. Sorry. Yeah, I really don't see it. I think it's very clever, though, this combination of mill and exile, and it feels very appropriate to the character. But yeah, I don't see it. Spark Harvest. This card, sack a creature, play 2, destroy target creature, planeswalker. Alright, sure. Surprisingly, you don't get to sack a planeswalker you control instead of just a creature. I think that makes more sense flavorfully and is a little more nicely symmetrical. But yeah, okay. This is good and limited because you don't really care about paying 5 just to kill something. Editor's spell began to fuel Bolas's ascension to godhood. So yeah, this is the scene we saw earlier of Domri getting what are those things from Harry Potter called? The Dementored. He got Dementored. All right. Sure. Hey. Oh, I thought this would be a reprint. Sure. Nice. Cute. Dinosaurs. They're everywhere. Bond of Passion, and we have seen these cards before. We are up to date. That was a nice solid hour of looking at cards again. I hope whoever is watching these is enjoying them. I really enjoy making them. I'm going to have fun looking back at these later and seeing how wrong I was. That'll satisfy me. Yeah, it's a pretty exciting set. there's like a few aspects of it that I'm a little disappointed by. I can't lie, but the things that I'm excited by are things that I never even would have expected wanting from it. So that I would always trade off, you know, being slightly let down by the things I thought I wanted, if it means being pretty blown away by things I didn't even know I wanted. Like, what the hell is this? What is this card? Can it really be as crazy as it seems? We'll find out. Okay, that's all for